try this. So going to do my I did just adjust myself. All right, so week 2 check-in. Just a little bit late, but um, let's see. Where do I start? Actually, I wasn't gonna record this week just because I know I'm gonna record next week. Um, but I was feeling pretty triggered, and I don't know why, but I just felt like maybe this isn't a good opportunity to check in. Um, okay, so like continuing on from the last episode, trying to think of where I want to start. Okay, so it's kind of like hard to say because only I can personally attest to this, obviously, but like there's been a drastic change in my mood and my energy levels and my will for life. So dramatic. Um, no, but I just feel like um, I feel alive. I feel like I'm not this zombie walking through life. Um, and it makes you realize how long you've been living in another state of mind. And um, you don't like actually realize that you're in that state because like okay, so for example, I'm trying to fix my sleep schedule. So the first week was not so good. I was still really not able to fall asleep until like 6, anywhere from like 6 to 8 a.m. With 4 hours of sleep. But this past week, I think, yes, I've been able to sleep for longer. Even though I can't fall asleep any earlier, I'm still falling asleep around like anywhere from like 1 to 3 a.m. At least I'm staying asleep longer. So, which has made a huge difference. I've been getting at least 7, 8 hours of sleep. And before, my body just like would automatically wake up after like 3 hours, 3, 4 hours, sometimes less. And it's a game changer. So this week, I would say a majority of the days I have been able to sleep from anywhere from like 7 to 10 hours, which is amazing. And but there was one day where I slept for like 4 hours, which is on average what I had been sleeping for the past 2 years. And that day, it was so apparently reminiscent of how I had been always feeling. And to be able to so closely compare what it feels like to get the proper amount of sleep versus what it feels like getting 4 hours of sleep is literally night and day. Night and day. Like, I can't even tell you how shitty I felt after that 4 hour day. Um, I was just like in a bad mood. I was just tired. I didn't really want to talk to anyone. I didn't really want to do anything. Um, and um, it's just, again, night and day. So it's been very relieving to feel that side of me coming back where I just like feel alive. I feel like a human being. And my mood. So I also I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I use this app that was recommended by one of my friends. It's called How We Feel. I strongly recommend it to anyone. Um, I don't know. I don't want to say like, I just feel like if you want to track your moods and just like check in with yourself, it's such a great app because it gives you a whole range of emotions. And I have mine set up where it will randomly throughout the day ask me how I'm feeling. Um, and it gives you like a chart on like based on like, you know, yellow emotions, which are like high energy positive emotions, and then there's like green emotions that are like low energy but still like on the positive end, and then there's like the red emotions, which are like low energy kind of negative emotions. And it gives you a chart of like where how many times you've checked into like each kind of color, and it's just so helpful to see on a graph like what your moods have been. And so like um obviously like for the past couple of years I've primarily stayed on the red or green side, which is both low energy emotions. um, and to see that change to so many yellow emotions, which are like high energy positive emotions, um, it's like it feels really good to like be able to like recognize that and like see the proof. So How We Feel is the name of the app. I recommend it to like so many of my friends. And you can also, it's also nice. Like, I mean, obviously it depends on who you want to be friends with on the app, but like I have like two of my closest friends on there and you can share your emotions with them. So it's like also nice to see when your friends are feeling good or if they're not feeling so good, and you know, maybe they haven't voiced that to you and maybe it gives you a prompt to check in with them. So fantastic app. Literally How We Feel. I am a extreme advocate of this app. Anyways, back to the point. So I've been feeling a lot better, and I guess I wanted to check in because there is a whole nother side of this that I'm still kind of working through, and it's the side of feeling some sort of shame um, because you're not working. And like for example, and it's like things that I have that actually got brought up twice today. So I went to a book club, um, which is another thing that I'll get into later this week, but I mean later after this. But I went to a book club and I met, you know, girls, you know, that you connect with and everything. And you know, it's so easy to ask what people do. And so I still found myself saying that I freelance and that I have clients in the US. When actually I'm unemployed. So even though it hasn't been that long since I've stopped freelancing, I did think to myself that it, like literally immediately, I was like, there is still, sorry, burping. There's still this shame of like not wanting to say that I'm unemployed. And I've also found myself like very selective on the people that I've told that I'm unemployed. And so there's definitely like this like kind of shame around it. Um, but it's such a weird feeling because to feel shameful of it when like I've been feeling so good. It's like, why would you feel shameful about that when like your quality of life has improved so much within just like a couple weeks, like crazy. um, but what triggered this for me today was that I hadn't really called my parents in a minute. I called them tonight, and I feel guilty saying this, but I immediately regretted it. And so it was a lot of definitely like feeling shame about not being unemployed or not being employed. Um, and it's not, I think I was angry in the moment. Look, when it comes to my parents, I apologize, but your girl has the biggest attitude problem. I mean, I have an attitude problem as is, but oof, when it comes to my parents, I'm sorry, Neri and June. But um so and it's not their fault. It's like, I understand like the concern for your children, and I think what and this is what I wanted to talk about. And I'm not saying anything, I'm not trying to like paint my parents in a bad light. Like my parents are who they are and I love them for it. And I'm not saying that they've never supported me, but it was very like feeling like, and it has felt like I've been kind of avoiding talking to them because I know how they feel about not having a job. Um, but it's also this feeling of wanting to really do something for yourself and not having the support of like the people that love you. I think that's like something that I've been trying to work through a lot. Sorry, super loud. Um, and I know that I cannot always expect this of people, but like one big thing that I've been trying to work through is making sure that I surround myself with people who believe in me and support me, because it's so important, because there already lies so much self doubt when it comes to doing your own thing or starting your own business or whatever it may be. Like, um, and so when other people project their fears onto you, um, it's like it's already hard to maintain this like positive belief around taking a risk on yourself. And so, like, for me, this is like, I'm very, very protective of like my energy. So, like, when it comes to like, if I'm in a bad mood, I self isolate because I don't want to project my bad mood onto anybody else. Um, so, vice versa, like when I'm in a good mood, I'm also very protective of that too, because I think that it affects me a lot when the people that I love are like not as excited or understanding about something that brings me excitement and joy in my life, because who I am for other people is like someone like who will 100% support whatever it is that you choose to do. And I pride myself in that. Like, I think it's so important because this is getting into a much larger picture here, but it's so important to build trust with yourself. Um, and that's something that I've been working at for years now, to learn how to trust yourself and trust your decisions and trust that you know what's best for you. So, because I know cultivating that relationship is so hard with yourself, like to cultivate that self trust is so hard, and to continue to trust that you know what you're doing, um, you have to keep reinforcing that, right? So that's why I take it so seriously. And since I've adopted this mindset to create such a huge trust in yourself, it's so important to support the decisions of the people that you love, because that is also reinforcing their trust with themselves. So, like when someone wants to take a big leap of faith or do something, and even if I think that maybe that's not the best decision for them, that's not for me to say. Um, like, if you're asking for my advice, then yes, I will give that. And I haven't always been this way, but I think as I've developed these beliefs, um, I think it's just really important to support whatever decision people make for themselves, because it reinforces them trusting their own decisions. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, that's so important. So, kind of going back to it, it's like very important for me to cultivate this space of like where, like right now, I feel like I'm in a super creative space where like the ideas keep me up at night, and it's like it's such a switch of like anxiety, from going from anxiety keeping me up at night to like this level of excitement keeping me up at night. I'm like in my fucking Notion notebook, fucking writing down all these ideas and random shit, like, and it's exciting, and I feel like this passion under me. And so when people that are in my life don't support it in the same way, I think that I feel like really triggered about that. And I think that's something like I need to kind of also kind of take a look at, because it's not their fault, like they also don't always know that they're like projecting that onto me. And also you have to realize you can't, the biggest thing is you can't take anything personally. Like everyone is going through their own things, have their own experiences, and sometimes people know that they're projecting, or sometimes a lot of people don't know that they're projecting. So yun lang. No, but that's just kind of how I felt, and I wanted to talk about that. So moral of the story is, to make sure that you surround yourself with people who are encouraging and supportive and believe in, um, your decisions and your ideas. And um, I don't know. I think that now, as it's so interesting trying to make new connections as you're older, but I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm looking for when I'm trying to meet friends or like romantic partners, is like trying to find people who create a safe space enough for me to express my ideas and encourage me to let those ideas flourish and like go after them. Um, so, yeah, kind of what I wanted to talk about. But I also wanted to talk about, I guess, just like the physical differences I've been experiencing. I can't remember if I like. I guess the last time I checked in, I was still pretty early on, but I it's so funny because there's a lot going on in the cosmos, if anyone follows that. We're Mercury in retrograde. I think Venus is in retrograde. We just shifted into Aries season. We just ended the astrological year and we're starting a new one. So there's a lot of like endings and beginnings and things like that. And there's also a lot of, it's funny, I also, which ties into, I went to a writing workshop, and I connected with the girl who hosted the writing workshop, and she discussed, and I'm so happy that she discussed this, because it was also something that I was feeling as well. But for people who follow astrology, I do feel like there's a lot of like fear mongering around the time right now because there is a lot going on in the cosmos. I'm not going to deny that. But I think it's so important to frame it in a way that isn't that doesn't make you feel fearful of the time of like um, and using it to your advantage. So for example, so like when all of this was going on, which it still is, but I feel like I had to take a step back from social media because I do follow like a lot of like astrology and stuff like that. And I did feel like a lot of social media was um, kind of giving off the fear mongering vibe, which I don't necessarily agree with because I am someone who I feel like this is something that I've really tried to teach myself, but the thing is, there's always going to be shit going on in the cosmos, dude. The planets are continuously shifting. There's all these things going on all the time. Mercury in retrograde like happens like 3 times a year or some shit like that. And the thing is, what it comes down to is that you can only control what you can control. And so, regardless of what's happening around you, all that matters is that you know how to control what's going on in front of you. So, how you react, or in your actions, or be intentional of the things that you say. Um, I think that it's more important that we focus on the things that we can control instead of what's going on in the cosmos. Um, so I was like, sorry, I was like, where the fuck was I going with this? But where I was going was that the energy is real fucking crazy, right? But let me tell you, your girl has been feeling so good. I almost like it. It's crazy, but I almost feel guilty because I know people are going through it. Like, I know people are going through, and I think about like, there's a lot of shit going on in the US. And I am very privileged that I am in another country and it's not so in my face. Not to say that I don't like keep up with like what's going on. I mean, I try to. I do keep a reasonable amount of distance with it, but there is a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. So there is a part of me that like feels guilty, but also not, because going back to my point earlier is like I've been feeling like a dead person. Very dramatic. Not that I've been feeling like a dead, but I mean, kind of, yeah. I've been kind of feeling zombie-ish for a really long time, so I'm like starting to finally feel alive. And yeah, so with everything going on in the cosmos, and it's just a time for a lot of things to go wrong. I feel like a lot of things are going right for me right now, and I'm really trying to cultivate that and embrace that. And um, so yeah. But anyways, the real point of it was to tell you that since I've been getting more sleep and shifting into um, jumping into like my own passion project, which hopefully will create financial abundance for me. Please pray for your girl. But this past week, so like the first week, I kind of focused on just like resting and like getting my body back and just feeling okay. Sorry, these plants are really taking up my space, but I love them. And so the second week was when I kind of already knew what I wanted to do, but the second week I've been able to really focus more on the project. And I cannot tell you. So, like, this is the first time where I'm really diving into something that is like all me. like even though I transitioned into freelancing, I'm so sorry. Even though I transitioned into freelancing is still kind of, even though you're technically working for yourself, it's still, I mean, you have to find clients. So you're still technically like working for other people as well. So this is like the first project that I've kind of dove in where it's just me. It's just me, myself, and I. And it's really like going back to like what's happening in the cosmos, like really betting on yourself, like just like going all in. And it's so crazy because like I know what I'm capable of doing work wise for other people, but to now, because I have no other choice right now, like this is, go big or go home for me right now. But because I have no other choice to go all in on myself, the feeling is amazing. Like how much I can do for myself. Dude, like this week, I have been just like teaching myself all these new things while still utilizing all the things that I've also like, learned over the past over a decade. Um, but like learning Facebook ads and then creating Facebook ads and then, course outlining and then creating Google Slides and looking up different softwares to use and, you know, really um, catering my chat GPT to my liking. It's all been very fun and like exciting and it like I don't know, it doesn't even feel like work. um, and that's why I also feel like I know that this is like the right thing for me because it just feels so good. It feels good and it feels like something I'm super excited about. And so yeah, so this entire week I've been able to like work on those types of things and then like revamping my website, creating landing pages, like creating new domains and just like putting everything that I've learned over the past 15 years like all together for myself is the best feeling in the world. And it's so rewarding because you're investing in yourself. Like it's the best feeling. So I've been able to do that this week. And then not only that, like I was like so into working out, like to the point where like I didn't even want to take a rest day, but I had to because your girl had to go back to the immigration office and fucking renew her goddamn fucking tourist visa. Um, so I took one rest day, but like I've been going in, and not only that, the workouts have just like felt so good, and even like for example with boxing, so I've always kind of struggled and I realized that this probably has a lot to do with my lack of sleep, but I would always have trouble remembering the combos. Like I just couldn't remember them and I couldn't, it was very hard it's like hard for me to focus when I'm on the mitts. um, and I feel like that has improved immensely, like um, and I feel like I don't know. I just like have been able to lift more. It also could be because I'm taking creatine. I'm also going to attest to the sleep. Okay. So that's been awesome. And then also, like last week, I went to a writing workshop, which I loved. I love to write. I'm a big journaling person. Sorry, I keep looking down to see if my mic is on because that kind of tells me that it's still connected to my phone and hopefully my phone is still recording because sometimes my phone just like stops recording sometimes. Um, but I went to a writing workshop and honestly, I feel like I've found a space in Manila that I feel I'm starting to feel like it is really a community that connects to me. So shout out to Sunspace Makati, which this girl Sunny owns it, and it's a yoga space. But she does like monthly activities, and I just feel like so many of like the activities that she does. I've done yoga there too, but so many of the activities that she hosts, like I just like really connect to. So I went to a writing workshop, loved it, really connected with the girl that hosted it, and wrote poetry, and it was so great. I guess like I've never like really gotten into writing poetry, but it's something that I had been wanting to get into. And so doing different like poetry exercises, and then also like reading, or like you read out loud like what you wrote, and just hearing other people's writing styles was like so awesome and inspiring. And so I went to that last weekend, and then I went to a book club today, which is my second time going to the book club, same space. Um, and I just love it. It's such a safe space. And um, it's like one of the places where I feel like I can honestly speak about like what's going on in my life or things that I've experienced, like on a really like deeper level. And it's like well received in a really safe community of mostly women. And it's just like such a beautiful thing. And so I've been able to do that. And then it's like, I'm going to a fashion show tomorrow. And then your girl, she is unemployed, but she is still living her life because I spontaneously booked a ticket to Camiguin to go see Rose, which I feel like some of you, if you are watching this, have seen some of me and Rose's clips discussing random things. So I am excited to really like record with her. But yeah, I was like, like, why not? I can go. I think right now is a good time to kind of skip out of Manila, um, and just kind of clear my mind. Every time I go to the beach, I just feel like I find some newfound clarity, which clarity, something I also want to talk about. Um, but uh, so yeah, I am going to Camiguin on Monday for the week, and I'll be spending time with Rose, and I'll be working on my project there, and then also hopefully launching it, which is a little nerve wracking, but also like super exciting too. Um, but yeah, so that is like what's going on in my life. um, and then not only that, oh, what I wanted to bring up, and maybe this will tie everything up somehow, but I realized um, I think like sleeping on things, like, when people are like, sleep on it, sleeping on things is like a real thing. And I have found that, and I've been writing every morning. So in my Notion um, dashboard, I have like a consistency tracker. And I also have like a mind, body, soul check in. Maybe I'll show it. So I'll kind of, yeah, maybe I'll try to show it on the screen. But it just helps me keep track of like, um, how often I do things, and, also just check in with myself, my emotions, and things like that. But with the sleep, every time that I have gotten at least 7, 8 hours of sleep, I have woke up with some sort of clarity, and like profound clarity, where I'm like, oh shit. It's like the light bulb went off in my head. And it's like so crazy. And I'm not going to talk about like the things that I have found clarity on, because I mean, not that I don't want to talk about them. I honestly just like can't remember, because I would have to go through my phone and look at it. But it's been amazing. And so, moral of the story, your girl loves her sleep. Like, sleep over everything, bro. Everything. But it's been, I want to say, a huge blessing to have these moments of clarity in the morning and of like something like maybe sometimes I feel a little bit of anxiety about, or sometimes I'll fall asleep, like not know, like having decided on something, and in the morning it's just so clear to me what the answer is. And so look, I'm living my best life right now. Okay, I don't know if it's my best life, but it's a pretty good life. So I'm actually really glad I did this check-in because I was, your girl was about to start crying. And I was like, let me just check in with myself because you know what? Life isn't really that bad. I just had a bad moment, and you just let that pass. And that's just, I guess, what life is. But yeah, so that's my check in. I'm really excited because the next episode will be with Rose. Um, so I'm excited to see what we come up with. Who knows? I feel like we always talk about dating, but my dating life is a little non existent right now. I mean, it's been pretty non existent for the last 2 years. Let's be real here. But um, so, yeah, we'll see. But that is our week 2 check in of unemployment. Thanks for listening. Oh, shit, I don't know if I can get up.